My girlfriend cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years. About 2 weeks ago she saw her ex-boyfriend for the first time since their breakup 3 years ago. It brought out a bunch of old feelings. Last weekend I caught her looking at old pictures of the two of them together, and she eventually confessed that she'll always love him but doesn't know what else she's feeling. On Wednesday I went through her phone, yeah I know, and I saw recent text messages saying they missed each other. He invited her to his place but she said, "I can't, we both know where that's going to lead." I was hurt and angry. Friday night I got pretty drunk and I fucked things up pretty bad. I confronted her about her feelings and told her I saw her text messages. She was angry, said she had done nothing wrong and asked if I trust her. I said obviously not if I'm going through her phone. She told me we'll talk more about this in the morning after I sober up, and she left. She didn't come back until the next morning around 11. I asked her where she went last night and she was just quiet. I asked if she slept with him and she said nothing. She told me she was just there to get her things and then she was leaving. I asked her why and she finally admitted to still being in love with him. She said she does love me but I'm not him, no one ever will be. She said she wished I would have talked to her about how I was feeling while I wasn't drunk. I told her I wish she would have been honest with us both 2 years ago because I've just wasted 2 years of my life. I told her to grab her shit and get out. I left because I couldn't be there anymore and saw him standing outside when I left. I'm having a hard time with all of this. Coming to terms that she was never in love with me. Accepting she'd rather be back with someone who made her miserable. I'm staying with a friend because I can't go back to that apartment right now. Anyone who's been through a bad breakup, I could really use some advice. Update. I went back to my apartment with a couple of friends and it seems so empty without her and her things there. She took something that's mine. I know it was probably a mistake but I can't even begin to think of asking for it back. My friends offered to reach out to her for me, but I don't know if I'd even want it back now. It could just be all in my head but I'm pretty sure they had sex on the bed. When I passed out drunk on Friday it was in the couch and the bed was made up that I can remember. I hate her. I hate him even more for some reason. But I fucking miss her so much. I'm still staying with my buddy, he said I can crash as long as I need to. I plan on getting pretty drunk tonight and my two of buddies are gonna be here to make sure I don't do something fucking stupid like text her. It feels like I'll never find someone else right now. She was perfect, beautiful, and everything I wanted. But I'm not some asshole who likes to rough her around, so I'm not enough. Comment. They broke up for a reason, it'll happen again. I hope this time you don't take her back though. Get therapy, block her everywhere, and I seriously hope you get your life together and move on. This advice right here. This please. This one is 100% on her and her shitty choices. She will be back. Be better than I was and never look back. Just read your old post where you said he used to beat her up. Let every friend of hers know she's back with him and that she is to never contact you again. She's got some serious issues with trauma bonding to end up back with her abuser. If you need a bit of revenge? Yes, you could tell her friends. Maybe in sorrow she's cheated on you with her ex who used to abuse her. Best of luck to all, hope you all will be there for her when she needs it, since you no longer can message to all her friends/family. Yeah, why did they break up the first time? That reason is probably not going away, so be prepared down the line when she contacts you again about the big mistake she made and how she wants to try again. Oh, and for future reference, if something traumatic hits, never get stupid and drink. Nothing good will come of it and it will only worsen a situation. Drinking is for when you're in a good space, not in a bad. Next story 2. She cheated while I was in the hospital. And this is one time I was cheated on by. When I was in my mid-20s I had a girlfriend that I thought was amazing. Now there was some red flags that I chose to ignore, being how I'm not perfect myself. I'm not really gonna go into those red flags being how they aren't important to the story. One day we got an argument and I decided to spend a few days at my house just to rethink everything. On the second day she called me up demanding I go over there to her house to talk. Reluctantly I agreed and got in my truck to head over. Now it was winter in the northern central states where we were living. My truck hit some black ice and slid into the ditch, causing it to flip multiple times. I do have pictures of the truck after the crash. If anyone's interested, I can find a way to post them. While I was in the hospital she was blowing up my phone. I was unaware of this being on my phone was in the truck somewhere. When I got out of the hospital I contacted her. Explained what happened and she seemed just concerned about how I was doing. She did ask about if I got any of my messages. Which I told her the truth, that I lost my phone in the crash and had no clue where it was or what happened to it. She sounded relieved. I just assumed she might have said some things out of anger that I never showed up. Wow, was I wrong. It was 3 days before I got access to my truck. In that time she was nothing but caring and concerned about how I was doing. Honestly, it was the nicest I have ever seen her. After seeing that side I thought she could be the one. I seen how old our old arguments were over just petty things, but this was the real her. At least until I finally got to my wrecked truck and was able to find my phone. Once I charged my phone I got all her messages. Including the ones where, since I was too good to show up, she was going to call a real man that would. Plus the messages of everything she did with said real man. I think she missed her calling as an author, being how she left nothing to the imagination. When I confronted her about this you would think she'd apologize. Instead she only apologized that it happened while I was in the hospital. But refused to acknowledge she did anything wrong. We've since split up, obviously. My sisters still remain friends with her. I remain friends with her on FB and enjoy little updates about her abusive husband. How CPS took her children. Her drug problems. As for me, this is not my worst relationship. I've had ones before and after that I've been as bad if not worse. I'm in my mid-30s now, I no longer choose to date. I do still hold women in high regards. My choice not to date anymore does not mean I have anything against women. So please don't post anything bashing them. I just happen to be drawn to some really bad ones, just like some women are drawn to terrible men. This should not be used against the rest. Comment. Wow. You have had some bad luck in the romance department. Instead of just deciding to not date, be a little more cautious in who you date. Keep an eye out for someone that isn't who you would usually gravitate to. You're so young to give up. Just a thought. She definitely had her issues, but definitely not the worst. Wait, what? Let me be sure I got this straight. When you neither arrive at her place nor respond to her calls/texts, she doesn't get worried and call your friends and family out of concern, but rather immediately fucks another guy. Then she tells you about her fuck, a real man, in great and graphic detail. And her attitude when you read the graphic texts is, shit happens, I had no choice but to fuck another guy. All this and she's not the worst. WTF, my man. Who is the worst? Definitely know how you feel. I can sure pick myself. I'm more cautious when dating cause the last couple relationships ended in tragedy for me, so I'm over being manipulated by bad apples but not close myself off to the future and meeting someone worth a shit I like, not depending on someone emotionally as well, just sick of overwhelming drama, but good luck, it sounds like you're already better off. Don't give up, you just never know. I knew, or should I say, didn't know how to pick them. I think cheaters lock onto loyal, empathetic people. You just have to figure how to break the cycle. Mine was figuring out I'd accept red flags when dating. Then those red flags would get buried until they cheated. So, eliminate the red flags right out the gate, don't ignore them. I made a list from previous flags I'd seen, and went from there, 1 red or 3 yellows, and I'd end it. I had a couple of paid dating apps to get quality dates. Typically during the screening conversations something, like talking about their exes by first name, or unsolicited, or anger, would trigger a red flag for me. If they'd ever cheated, no matter what the circumstance, I'd end it. Rude to people, not engaged in our conversation, asking about finances too early, too much interest in my possessions, all red flags. Yellow flags would be checking their phone often, staring at others, broken dates without a good reason, mentioning their ex out of the blue. I think you get the picture. They needed to be emotionally available, not sexually available. If they offered sex on the first or second date, I'd not date them again. I know that one was difficult, but anyone wanting to give or get before knowing someone just wasn't for me long term. I actually think that was the most difficult. BC, there were some very amazing and beautiful, above my league, willing to have fun. Anyway, being firm in my list of red flags really cut down on possible cheaters, and landed me my wife, after so many failed relationships. I didn't know a relationship could be so fun or healthy. This might work for you, who knows.